Tesla demand right now is 2x production. Tech stocks will be up, potentially 30% this year.
Dan Ives was just on TV and he is quite bullish on Tesla. He says that his current price target for Tesla stock is quite conservative.
I'm looking at all your tech coverage here, some of the names, most of which are outperforms, and I see the price targets. Do any of these price targets, these are your 12-month price targets where you think fair value is, do any of these price targets feel like reaches? You have a 225 for Tesla. Are you comfortable with every single one of those price targets? And do you have more of a bullish case than bearish case on most of these names?
Yeah, I think if anything, they're actually conservative. I mean, that's sort of my view. And absolutely, I mean, you've talked for years. We've seen ebbs and flows in terms of tech. I think right now you're really starting to see that risk on trade start to happen. You look at names like Tesla and others, and I think we're really in the start of what I believe is overall tech stocks will be up, potentially 30% this year. Especially with many yelling fire in a crowded theater. As we've seen over the past month.
If we look at Dan Ives' tipranks.com profile, currently he's number 144 out of 8,000 Wall Street analysts. This is based on the performance of 1 year, which is nothing like Gordon Johnson. And people were actually starting to pay some serious attention to Gordon Johnson when Tesla was closer to $100. I don't know why you would do that, but some people did. It is important to note, though, that Dan also takes sentiment into consideration when he puts out his price targets. For example, he reduced his Tesla stock price target earlier last year because of the Twitter noise. So actually, I am a little bit surprised that Dan has not increased his price target for Tesla yet. If Tesla stock does keep going up a little bit more, then I would expect this price target to increase.
I see Elon Musk sitting there watching the game yesterday for Tesla. It's amazing because Tesla really doesn't advertise and they don't have to buy those ads. Instead, Elon Musk just goes to the game. There's the ad.
That TV host does have a point. Elon went to Super Bowl and people were talking about Elon just being at the Super Bowl. Elon also did not look completely exhausted, unlike some other times when we see him in public. If you remember Elon watching the soccer game at the World Cup recently, he did not look exactly very rested and not particularly in a good mood also.
Tell me, do you still think Tesla's a big hit? Even with, the big ad from GM, for example, all about moving into the world of EVs. Is that only more and more good for Tesla because they're the leader and will continue to be so?
Yeah, I mean, look, Tesla demand right now is 2x production. And if you look what's happened in China and even the U.S. since the price cuts, those have been home run successes. That's why the stock really is up the way it is. And they're able to do it at that margin level, which I think no one thought was possible. You got March 1st Analyst Day, which is another catalyst, more battery technology.
We look at US and the Model Y inventory is basically non-existent. This is despite a few small price increases for the Model Y recently. Tipranks.com has this article written based on Dan Ives' survey that Dan Ives did in China, where we asked potential EV buyers, so only people that were thinking about buying an EV. They surveyed more than 500 consumers, of which 76% said they are considering buying a Tesla in 2023. This is after a price cut. Domestic rivals such as BYD and NIO took second and third positions. However, when we go to China's website to order a Tesla, we can still see that the wait time is 2 to 5 weeks. It has not moved for the standard range Model Y, and for the long range, it is also still 2 to 5, and for the performance one, it is also 1 to 4 weeks still. It has not moved. Initially, it moved just a tiny little bit immediately after the price cuts, and then it did not move more. Many are hoping that during the Tesla Investor Day, there is going to be more information about the next generation platform, perhaps that would be a compact, and in the ideal case scenario, it would be released very soon. Here's what Elon Musk just said about the Investor Day. Looking forward to Tesla Investor Day on March 1st. By this, we mean the broadest definition of investor, as in the people and life on Earth. It will be a message of good hope and positivity for the future. So nothing really specific there. I am keeping my hopes rather low, because if Tesla was to announce the next generation platform on the Investor Day and say, oh, we are starting to make it in like 3 months or 6 months, I would think that Tesla's guidance would be more than 1.8 million deliveries for this year. So based on that information, my conclusion would be to think that it is not very likely that we are going to have some sort of major announcement for the next generation platform vehicle to be released this year in any significant volume. Roy also shared inventory for Europe. As you can see, it has actually been increasing. The website is tesla-info.com. I wanted to see if the number of vehicles in inventory in the US match Matt Junk's website, which we know we can trust. And yes, indeed, it pretty much matches. It depends what time of the day you take the data, so it will be slightly different, but for the most part, it matches very closely. For example, this website that we can trust shows 504 vehicles in the morning on January 26 for Model 3. And this website shows 474 vehicles for Model 3 on that same day. It must have been taken slightly at a different time of the day, so that's how I would explain that small difference. However, this website does not have data for every day. See how there's nothing in between January 16th for the Model 3 and January 9th? And if you track the inventory level every day, then you would have seen this. But over here, if you look at the Model 3, it looks like things were fine. Why? Because you are not tracking the inventory day to day. So even though when you look at the inventory in Europe, and we know that when this website does have data, we can actually trust the data. However, I can't look at what was Tesla's inventory a year ago this month. I don't know. I don't know what Tesla's inventory usually looks like in Europe at this time of the year. Here's what I do know though. If we add up the deliveries from the last quarter in Europe, we will get over 90,000 deliveries. If we split all of that across 3 months, on average, we would deliver 30,000 vehicles. And keep in mind, we had quite a big price cut just now. So it would sound weird to me that we only had 9,200 deliveries in the first month of this year, and somehow the inventory is super high. Some vehicles that are purchased in Europe are made in Giga Berlin, but a lot of them still come from China. So for example, you see this massive spike here? That's a big ship dumping a whole bunch of vehicles, and towards the end of a quarter, maybe the spikes get bigger, and maybe if we look at that inventory before, maybe we would also see some sort of spikes like that as well. So for me, here is what I would actually want to seriously pay attention to. I want to see what are the deliveries in Europe next month. I would want the total number of January and February to be at least as high, and hopefully significantly higher, than October and November put together. If we get a number here and it looks low, that would be not good. There is a possibility that maybe one of the factories is ramping and producing more than they thought. So when we look at the inventory alone, we don't know exactly how many deliveries will we have in Europe. So This, I think, is a much better way to track exactly what's going on.
So is it a good buy to buy Tesla ahead of that March 1st date?
Well, I think that's another catalyst. I think Tesla continues to be one. Many are skeptical of the rally we're seeing, like broader tech. And I think Tesla is one that continues to move higher here because of production and because of demand post price cuts.
Yeah. And, you know, people are saying he was a genius by cutting those prices. And to your point, they still have the margin, whereas some of the other companies do not with price cuts on the vehicles, right? They were able to cut the prices and still make money.
In other words, if Tesla needed to stimulate demand further, they can cut the prices even more. And there is nothing that the competitors can really do at this point. This is the Tesla stock buying opportunity explained by Elon Musk. My name is Matt Postis. Like and subscribe if you haven't yet, and I will see you in the next video. Thank you so much for watching.